Vic Carucci, Jay Skurski here at Buffalo Bills training camp, St. John Fisher College. Okay, the players get a break on Monday after 4 days of workouts. 2 days, these last two, in pads, and we saw our first camp scuffle today. It wasn't much of one, but Jerry Hughes, what a shock, is in there with Jordan Mills, and but it broke up quickly. But I guess a sign that these guys are ready to take a little break.
Yeah, you know, there's those milestones every year during camp, right? It's the first day of pads, it's the hitting other people, right. It's the the goal line when they go live. Yep. Then you get to the first preseason game, so we can check each one of those down where they get into that scuffle. But yeah, you're right, it got heated for a second, but it broke up pretty quickly. But yeah, I think, after 4 days of, it seems like pretty solid work, they're ready for a day off, and then, come back out here Tuesday morning.
Yeah, and of course our focus, like everyone else's focus, on the quarterbacks. This is how I see it so far, Jay, and want to get your take on it as well. But Josh Allen, the rookie, is throwing the best passes and the worst passes. I think that's to be expected. The most talented, physically talented guy of this group, but also a guy who is a rookie, who's still finding his way in the NFL. So he's making some of the throws or the bad decisions, if you will, that you'd expect a young kid to make. But when he throws those long passes, they are just beautiful. I would put him at the top of my personal list. I think A.J. McCarron, the safest bet guy, because he keeps himself away from danger, the turnovers and such. He does a very solid, steady job. And Nathan Peterman, man, I think since the training camp practices began, a guy who had some good moments in the offseason seems to be really sliding down.
Yeah, I will agree with a lot of that. I would say I'm going to start with McCarron. I think that he's been the steadiest. There has not been a lot of wow plays. He's more than comfortable taking that check down option if it's there. I know that those are two words that Bills fans don't like to hear. Yeah. But and the one complaint maybe that I would have a little bit is, yes, he's not pushing it down the field, and he also seems to be holding the ball for a while. Taking some would-be sacks, I think, has affected him maybe more so than the other two. With Allen, I go back to, I believe it was Saturday's practice. I mean, just absolutely beautiful throws. One on a wheel route, then another back shoulder, back-to-back, just big-time throws. Then, unfortunately, he follows that up with the interception at the goal line, and it's like, there's that inconsistency, and I hate that word inconsistency, because I've always thought inconsistent means just not good enough. But with Josh Allen, I think it is a fair word, because boy, he does make some good throws, and he probably made the best one today. A real deep ball, just a strike to Robert Foster, who, by the way, if you're looking for one of those guys who has maybe emerged a little bit in the first week, Robert Foster, I think, is a pretty good candidate for that, undrafted guy out of Alabama. So I think it's fair to say that through 4 days, Peterman is the clear number 3 right now.
Foster, you mentioned him. What a good story, because this guy, even though a big school, Alabama, but a free agent trying to make this football team, he jammed his finger early in practice on Sunday, and you knew he was hurting. I mean, he was favoring it for a long time, but refused to go see the trainers. He knows he's got to have every rep he can out there, and of course he's available to do that big sideline play, make that catch as Josh Allen fired the ball. Defensive line, we want to just talk about Trent Murphy. I had an opportunity to talk with him the other day, and just an interesting guy who's fought his way back, traveled a long road from tearing his ACL and MCL in his left leg while with the Washington Redskins last summer. So he's coming back literally a full year in recovery, and now he's starting at end in place of Shaq Lawson. Looks to me like the Bills feel he's a clear upgrade there.
Yeah, I mean, Leslie Frazier, we got a chance to hear from him today. Confirmed, as we can see with our own two eyes, that Murphy is indeed the starter. And I think it was Sean McDermott yesterday referred to him as a 3-down player. So this is more than just a pass rusher. I know, when he signed, he was coming off a 9-sack season the last year that he was healthy. A lot of people were thinking, hey, he's going to be able to mix in on third downs. That's not the way the Bills are looking at this guy. They're looking at him like he's going to be the starter, and where's that leave Shaq Lawson is the big question. I think when you're talking about storylines at training camp, obviously the quarterbacks are number one, but what happens with Shaq Lawson and where does his career go as a first-round pick is a close second right now, and he's got a tough road ahead of him because Murphy isn't going to give him that job.
He isn't, and we'll see what the Bills could do with Lawson if he's a guy that they don't feel they'd want to keep around. You know, could they get something for him as a first-round pick? I mean, I think that's always a possibility. And again, it looks like on this defensive line, just rotating people. That, you know, maybe Lawson is one of those guys rotating, but Eddie Yarborough, and of course the starter Jerry Hughes, doing his thing to a level that I think is going to likely improve if Trent Murphy is everything the Bills want him to be over there. Okay, so that will wrap up our conversation from St. John Fisher College. Through 4 days of practice, the players are off on Monday. They're back at it on Tuesday. For Jay Skurski, for Jim McCoy, I'm Vic Carucci. Check back for much, much more on BN Blitz.